What's good, YouTube? It's your boy RJ, and today we're going to be talking about is modern feminism hurting men. Before we get into the video, do a brother a favor and go ahead and like the video. Also, click that subscribe button. When you do, make sure you click that notification bell so you're notified when I drop these banger videos. Let's get into it.
Are men trash?
Oh, cis, heterosexual men, absolutely, especially white men.
What
Wow.
rights do you think that men have that women don't today?
A woman can still walk a street and not feel protected versus a man can.
It's
Women
not
are
a
probably
right.
like underrepresented.
Like, it started off with great intent, but you have people who abuse the system.
A hatred of masculine energy.
It's like anti-men.
Today I'm out
It
here and
is
I'm asking,
anti-men.
is feminism still relevant in today's society?
Yeah, absolutely. If anything, it's more relevant now than it ever was.
Yeah, I would say feminism's still relevant today. You know, we built this country, men, but women at the same time got to supply more men, right? With no women, the world doesn't go round.
If you
For
look
sure.
at like domestic abuse, for instance, we know that it happens to people of all genders, but it seems to be like disproportionately like affecting
Is
women.
feminism still relevant in today's society?
Yeah, I definitely think it is. They put up a lot of bullshit. They pull up with sexual harassment. They put up with a whole lot of bullshit that us men just don't have to deal with.
Of course it's relevant. Throughout history, women have been discriminated against.
Right.
It is, but I think it's changed a lot.
There's an issue that people conflate with feminism and different things that happen in society that directly affect certain types of people. Just like in mass incarceration, that directly affects black men disproportionately from anybody else. But if you look at the violent crimes that are committed in America, compared to populace as a black men, we disproportionately commit more violent crimes than any other group in America. That's why if you go to a prison, it's predominantly black, when black people as a whole, when you include women and children, only take up 13% of the population. When we get to safety in public when you're by yourself, yeah, women are a lot more vulnerable, but it has nothing to do with women's rights. It has the fact to do with your physical build. Men are stronger than women. So a lot of times criminals, they attack people that are more vulnerable. It has nothing to do necessarily with, oh, you're a woman and you are less than a man, so I'm going to attack you. No, it's because you are more vulnerable because you're weaker than me. So guys that are criminal minded and going out there committing these crimes, they target women because they're easy targets. But with that being said, men are more likely to be involved in getting attacked by another man. So women think that, oh, because we are disproportionately affected when it comes to sexual assault, that there is oppression against us. No, it's just because you guys are the more vulnerable gender. But if you want to be technical about it, a man walking down the street, a black man walking down the street in a black neighborhood is way more likely to get attacked than a woman walking down the street in a black neighborhood. There are things that disproportionately affect people that have nothing to do with rights. And that's where feminism gets the issues conflated.
Feminism started out as women's rights, and now it has skewed into something entirely different than what it was.
Are we
For
going
sure.
too far? Did we do this and all the rest of that instead of being angry?
Now it's morphed into something that's more preaching like a superiority over men kind of stance. Like
It
I
is.
work with some people who would consider themselves heavy feminists, and they are constantly dogging on men, and they
For sure.
openly say, I hate men.
I would say that
For
as
sure.
long as men are alive, feminism is always going to be relevant
Why?
because men.
It's like today we're more polarized than ever before. And if men and women can't get along, it can only hurt society.
There are some radical feminists who generally hate men.
They consider us a hate group.
The patriarchy.
But in today's lack of nuance, is it considered sexist to even question the topic? And if
Right.
I had to be honest with myself, could I do it without my own bias? I guess we gon' see. What rights do men have today that women don't?
Oh, let's go down the list. A woman can still walk a street and not feel protected versus a man can.
I think we all have equality when it comes to laws.
Men are
It
able to walk
definitely-
out maybe in whatever they want to wear, or, you know, be able to stand strong through societal pressure.
I feel like women take a lot of precautions just by being a woman themselves, you know.
Statistically, just going into like a corporate setting, if you look at how women are rated on performance review versus men, the language that's used, you know, assertive versus bossy, or kind of the dynamic of how individuals are interacting in the workplace, I do think that there are societal norms that place women at a disadvantage, absolutely.
I think you have to, so for instance, for pregnancy, right? There's no law saying employers can't like fire you if you're pregnant. Or like abortion, for instance, like that's a law that like only affects women, right?
But don't you think that just kind of
That
explained by
affects
like
men as
biological
well.
differences?
But why does that justify making a law anyway that literally discriminates women.
And so biological differences lead to different treatments and reality.
Right.
So I wanted to take a different view on this topic of equality. Do you think today that women have certain privileges that men don't have?
For sure.
Yeah, part of that goes into being able to say certain things that, you know, men would get scolded for.
They can just talk completely out of their ass freely. You're not allowed to say nothing back.
Do you think, let's say, like, do men have problems that, let's say, that women don't experience? For example, in statistics, like, men have higher rates of suicide, and, you know, obviously men die more when it comes to, like, wars.
Women can go to war.
Yeah, but how about, like,
Women can go to war.
it's true. Who's overwhelmingly going to war and dying in wars?
Men. I'm not.
The reason why women can go to war is because that's a right that you guys have. That's a right. If you want to fight for your country, you're allowed to fight for your country. I was in the Marine Corps. The Marine Corps has always historically been a male-dominated or department in the military. And today, even today, the Marine Corps is 97% male and 3% female. But if you want to go into the infantry jobs, it's even smaller of a percent of women that are a part of infantry. And it's because women don't want to fight. Now, you got women that are out there that'll get buck, and they'll probably take down a lot of these guys in the street, in the civilian world, because they like that, because they Marines. But when you look at percentages wise, women do not go at mass into job fields that are violent or that have a high likelihood of you getting injured or end up dying. It just is what it is.
I'm not gonna argue that.
I mean, I feel like the war thing is a little hard to get into just because for the majority, men are going to war. It's not really women going to war, so of course more men die.
Why do you think that is?
I feel like that's just because it's kind of like the roles that society portrayed forever ago. Men are warriors and men are the ones that are fighting. And then
As
women,
we should be.
Do you think more women should go into war then?
Absolutely not. No woman should ever go into any military.
But wouldn't that be going against equality if you're barring women from going in the military then?
Well, I'm not saying barring, but I'm saying like I feel like as a woman you should know that you're not going to be putting yourself in a healthy situation going into the military because like it's harder to be a woman in the military than it is to be a man.
I would argue that that's not the case. Women in the military are catered to. Whenever we're talking about the physical fitness test, women have a lower bar that they have to hit to pass the physical fitness test compared to men. So they make it easier for women to thrive within the military. So I wouldn't say it's harder as a woman in the military than it is a man. What I will say is that as a woman, if you're going to war, you're fighting men. There are very few militaries in the world that allow women to fight on the front lines. So if you're going up against men, essentially you're the weak link in the platoon, you're the weak link in the squad. So we're not going to put you on point knowing that it's some aggressive enemy combatants out here who can't wait to get their hands on you, because you're not going to be able to take them up head up. They are trained just like you, and they're men, so they have an innate advantage over you. I would rather there be a military of men versus a military of men than a military of 50-50 male and female versus a military of 100% male. It has nothing to do with feminism.
I think that feminism is also, it's almost an excuse for behavior, flashing your tits or
Look at that.
something like that, you know,
And she's
behaviors
grabbing
like
his
that.
dick.
Like, but if
What?
a guy wanted to pull just his balls out, you know, it would be a little less socially accepted for sure. So
And I agree with that.
yeah.
Do you think in this sense that men have less privilege today than women?
Privilege is all kind of like how you look at it, what you're looking for. I think I'm pretty privileged. A lot of black people probably don't say they're privileged, so that's kind of how I look at it. We need to just stop looking and thinking everybody got greener grass and kind of just accept the fact we're not in a third world country, you know, with Russia invading us or some bullshit, you know what I mean? Like, life ain't that bad. It's 78 and sunny out. Chill the fuck out.
And you're high as shit right now, aren't you?
I'm cooked. Thank you.
Now, I don't know what to exactly make of what I'm about to explain to you next, but it may explain what's happening with society today. An experiment called Universe 25 created a mice paradise with an abundance of food and water. The aim was to study behavior over a time period in an attempt to explain human societies. And it was all good, but after 315 days, something unexpected happened. The population reached 600 and a hierarchy was formed with larger rodents starting to attack and cause male rodents to collapse psychologically.
Under those conditions, social behavior broke down.
This led to a new class of males called beautiful males who only care for food and sleep, and isolated aggressive females who didn't want to reproduce. And eventually, the society collapsed because of the lack of reproduction, lack of care for their young. And the scary part is that after repeating this experiment 25 times, the same results were observed over and over again. A viral Facebook post drew parallels to today's society with weak, feminized men with no protection instincts and overly aggressive females with no maternal instincts.
We need to kill all men.
It's a bit of a stretch, but is it possible that that's what's happening in the West today? Is the negative reaction of feminism coming from the fact that not only are women struggling, but also men? Let's take a closer look and see what this really means.
May I ask you, what are some, examples of misogyny that you faced?
Oh, let's see. I went through there was one time, I'm a psychology major. We were tasked with counting how many times we got catcalled. I realized every time during that month I went to a gas station at nighttime, I got catcalled.
I've seen some of my guy friends literally make 30 grand more than some of my girlfriends, and just because they're men.
But let's say that the pay gap does exist. Why wouldn't firms just hire women then?
They have to find probably quotas at this point.
Do you think there's quotas for men?
There aren't.
No, probably not.
Well, there's a lot more men.
And that's where the logic dies. If people could pay women less to do the same work and they are just as qualified, that would go against capitalism, which goes against the country because we live in a capitalist country. That would go against capitalism to not hire women. I will hire, if I owned a business, I will hire all my staff to be women because I could pay them less, which means I'm going to keep more money in my pocket. End of the day, it has nothing to do with the fact that I hate women, and a lot of women fail to realize men, we do everything that we can to protect women and children. Men are not raised to be women haters. Men are not raised to oppress women. We are actually raised the opposite. We are raised to do everything that we can physically do to provide a better world for women. So if you guys agree, go ahead and let me know down in the comment section. If you guys disagree with some of the things I said, also let me know down in the comment section. If you guys agree, go ahead and give the video a thumbs up. It's super helpful for your boy. It helps me out with the algorithm, and it lets me know you like this type of content. Also, go ahead and click that subscribe button. And when you do, click that bell notification button so you'll be notified whenever I drop these banger videos. It's your boy RJ, and I'm going to catch you on the next one. Deuces, YouTube.